Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm doing my 4-month review of the Cybertruck, but I'm also doing a compare video of the AT4, my last truck, versus the Cybertruck. So I wanted to put this in comparison. I think it makes more sense for guys that have had diesel trucks, gas trucks, whatever, the standard truck that you've had. And how does that compare to the Cybertruck, right? So 4-month review of the Cybertruck versus a diesel pickup that I've owned. And let me give you a little background. That was a 2022 GMC AT4 Sierra pickup truck, 3500 HD long bed crew cab. Okay, so didn't have the dualies, but it was right up there with that heavy capacity truck. Let's move on. So 7,028 kilowatts I've used on the Cybertruck since I've owned it. I've put 13,128 miles on it in 4 months. I took delivery April 29th, 24, and it is September 1st of 2024 today. Total cost with 87% of the charging at home and 12% supercharging, I've spent $682 over the 13,128 miles to charge the truck. I do charge at 6 cents a kilowatt off peak from 9 p.m. to 4 p.m. the next day. So I do schedule my chargers, and I have no problem arriving at 5% and getting to 90% and being charged up from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. I leave the house at around 6:30 in the morning, sometimes 6:15, and it's never been a problem to have it charged to the rate that I want the next morning when I've used the truck a lot, which I do, as you can tell. Now I want to compare what the cost of the diesel truck was to operate during those same amount of miles. So what I've done is compared the average mile per gallon of the truck, which was 15 miles per gallon. And if you take the 15 miles per gallon and divide it into 13,128, you're going to get around 875 gallons of diesel that would have been used to go those miles. Now the best price, which was this year, the average of diesel was $3.61. That would put the cost of fuel at $3,159. Now remember, these are all just averages and numbers to give you guys an idea. It's not going to be perfect, but it gives you a good idea. Now last year's price of diesel averaged $4.39. So that cost was $3,842. So let's figure in about 2 oil changes would happen during that time on the AT4. It goes anywhere from $150 to $200. So we'll go the low end and we'll say $300 for oil changes. Now you do need diesel exhaust fluid, about $20 a bottle. I figured in about every 3 full fuel tanks I would have to use a bottle. That came to about 8.5 bottles used, and I figured in about $170 in diesel exhaust fluid over that 13,000 miles. So that totaled up to $470 with the diesel exhaust fuel and the oil changes, not including any of the real expensive maintenances that are yet to come for a standard truck as it gets more miles. That does not affect the Cybertruck. So let's add all that up. So the best total cost over 4 months for this year's diesel costs would put me at $3,629. Last year, at a more expensive diesel cost, that would have cost me $4,312. So there's quite a bit of difference there, just depending on the cost of fuel. But that would also, take in consideration the cost of your kilowatt charge wherever you're charging as well. So let's see here. The Cybertruck savings. Well, let's go ahead and throw in the change of insurance. My insurance went up $52.75 a month owning the Cybertruck over the AT4. Not a huge difference, but let's throw that in there as well, the difference of the ownership and the change of insurance. Now, the car payments are going to be the same. They're both $100,000 vehicles, so we're not even really going to talk about that. But 4-month ownership, I am saving $683 on the best diesel prices this year, a month, $683 a month. And last year's diesel prices, I would be saving $1,025 a month in ownership. That's huge, guys. I mean, that's huge. Just kind of think about that. And like I said, these numbers aren't perfect, but it is a pretty good comparison of the difference in cost there. Now, let's keep looking here. Advantages of the AT4 versus the advantages of the Cybertruck, kind of this pendulum of, you know, what is giving me more value than the other vehicle. I want to talk about something that nobody talks about, just briefly. All of these diesel and gas and ICE engines out there are consuming oxygen. Nobody talks about this. So how much oxygen are all of these ICE vehicles taking up? Something to kind of think about, guys. I don't know. Maybe not. But to me, it was very interesting. My Cybertruck doesn't take up oxygen other than, okay, we can talk about coal powering my truck, solar, or wind. Obviously, some of the power is going to come from coal. Some of it's going to come from wind and solar. Just depends on your municipality and where they're getting their energy from. But I can tell you guys, I did a field trip back in high school, and I was blown away by the filtration system that is in place for coal plants. And this was 20 plus years ago, guys. These coal plants do not put out near the pollution as an unleaded vehicle would. And I tell you this from experience in owning an HVAC company. Using my combustion analyzer, it will break. A unleaded vehicle will break my meter. Thousands and thousands of parts per million of carbon monoxide, which you know is deadly to living organisms, most anyway. And a diesel, though, actually burns pretty clean if it's properly tuned. I only saw about 5 parts per million on my diesel truck when I put it into the exhaust, but they are eating up the oxygen, and most vehicles on the road are unleaded, which are putting out a ton of poisonous, invisible, odorless gases. Now think about us all driving down the highway. What are you breathing? Odorless, invisible, poisonous gas. Make of it what you will. But I don't think it's good. So moving on. Let's talk about the features now. Let's talk about the features for me in my case use. Okay. So with the GMC, I never used a fifth wheel with it, but you could use a fifth wheel, right? It can haul more. You can, anything over 10, 11,000 pounds, you're not going to want to haul with the Cybertruck, especially long distances on a regular basis. Fifth wheel for the GMC. How about the multi-pro tailgate for the GMC? It was nice tailgate. It would fold down, give you a step to get in. So a little easier to get in and out. And plus the truck didn't lift up and down, so you needed something to come down to get you up. The little notches in the bumper were nice to put your foot in to get up into the bed of the truck. So one up for GM on that. Also, you don't get judged driving the GM. People are used to that truck, so you don't get all these crazy reactions and getting judged and have to defend yourself on why you're driving such a different vehicle. Okay, and I'll talk more about that later. You can go farther in the GMC on a fuel tank full, right? So you get a lot more range. I would say a lot more on towing for sure, and definitely a little bit more. Couple hundred miles more on without towing in the 36-gallon tank version of that truck. You get slightly lower insurance costs. I saved $52.75 a month driving the GMC. There's plenty of accessories out there for a standard bed, for a standard truck, right? It's been around forever. Of course, there's lots of accessories. So if you have something that needs to go into that type of bed, then that would be another advantage to the GMC. Now, the rear opening window, yeah, cool. Necessary, no. Use it every now and then. Larger towing mirrors, yeah. So if you got a big, wide trailer, you've got the longer mirrors that come out to see a little better around the truck. That's an advantage. Now, I know there's a lot of accessories coming out, and I'm sure somebody's going to come out with a longer mirror extension for the Cybertruck, but currently I haven't seen one, and I would give that advantage to the GMC. There was a holographic display that would be on the glass as you were driving. That's a pro and con to me. I'm kind of wiping that out in the middle because I got used to it over time. At first, it was very distracting, but over time, I got used to it, and I did like that I could kind of, my peripheral vision would see the speed limit. But every now and then, I'd go over a crest of a hill, and it would just completely block my view. So I'm going to give that kind of a wash. I think it's really not necessary, but some people might really like that and find that to be something they really like. So the spare tire, right? The GMC can carry a spare tire. Over 10 years, I've never needed a spare tire in all my trucks. Never. So how necessary is it? For me, not very necessary. And I'm talking about driving on dirt roads where people are dropping rocks nails and things like that. I do carry an air compressor in every truck. Which would not work well with the GMC because you would have to carry batteries with you. It didn't have a lot of power available in the bed. That has changed, I think, on the newer models, but my 2022 couldn't even power a pancake compressor. But you carry the plugs with you and the thing to clean out, pull the nail out, clean it, put the plug in, and down the road you went. So 10 years, I never needed it, but it is there if you need it. That would be an advantage to the standard truck. Okay, how about there's more availability for fuel stations, right? In most cases, you're going to have more availability for diesel than a charging station. My truck had a sunroof, which was kind of nice. I liked opening that every now and then, but it is a dealership nightmare. I've had a lot of service guys at the dealership tell me how much they dislike the sunroofs and how problematic they are, but it is an advantage if you like the sunroof. And when hauling a larger load and you didn't have the tonneau cover down and you folded it up on the truck, I had a tonneau cover, but of course it was leather. You could break into it, you could rip it open with a knife, blah blah blah, and it really limited your ability to haul under the tonneau cover because the bed height was that all the way across versus Cybertruck would come up and give you more height. But anyway, the camera for the bed was located at the third brake light, so you could see more when you were hauling stuff in the bed of the truck. So those are kind of my heavy hitters that I could think of. Now, I'm sure there's more, but this is my case use for this truck, and what I would say had an advantage over the Cybertruck. Now, let's move on to the Cybertruck. Now, there are a lot more on the Cybertruck, so I'm going to try to go through these quickly as possible, but we're talking a load more. Okay, and of course I said my case use. Some people out there could find other reasons that I don't have, but let's talk about it. So the truck raises itself and lowers itself. A very nice advantage to not needing running boards to get in and out of the truck. It is very easy to reach into the bed. Some people say, oh, that lifted edge makes it hard. Guys, it's not a big deal when the truck is low to the ground. It's easy to get in and out. And in most cases, I had to jump into the back of my AT4 to get stuff out of the bed anyway because it's so high up all the time. So I would give an advantage for the up and down availability of the suspension system for bed and cab access. There's more space under the tonneau cover in the Cybertruck. There's way more space because of the way it lifts up. And I had to put a toolbox in my AT4 and then put the tonneau cover up against that, which made the truck a 6-foot bed because it was an 8-foot bed. And I think with the frunk and the extra storage underneath and the lifted tonneau that I actually have more usable space that is lockable completely. You're not breaking into the Cybertruck's tonneau cover. The warranty is awesome on the Cybertruck, guys. It's 150,000 miles for the batteries. It's great. The bumper to bumper, I believe, is pretty much the same, but it's 50,000, and I think my AT4 was only 36,000. Don't quote me on that. I'm trying to move through this, and there's a lot of stuff in here. So everything I say may not be exactly accurate. Do your own research, but pretty close here. All right, so you get 7 times more torque with the Cybertruck on the all-wheel drive and over 10 times more torque with the Cyber Beast. So it is going to tow like a mad machine. It is awesome. It is incredible the amount of torque that you get to move, to be nimble and quick with the Cybertruck. Now, if you were in an emergency and needed to get somewhere, now I don't recommend this to anyone. I'm not advocating this, but one day I was on the interstate and I had to get home fast, and the truck would only go 97 miles an hour, and the governor would hit, and I was getting passed by other vehicles, and I was in an emergency. And I'm not saying you should do it, but the Cybertruck has much higher top speeds. The all-wheel drive at 113 miles per hour. Like I said, I don't advocate any speeding or anything like that, but in an emergency situation, the Cybertruck is going to get there faster. Software updates, guys. I have to pay to get software updates through GM. Pay to have it done. I'm getting them for free. They're coming over the air all the time. We just got Tesla Vision, which now allows us to see a 3D world around us when we're parking the truck, and all kinds of cool features always coming to the truck, versus you buy an AT4, it's pretty much the same its entire life. The Tesla Cybertruck is the most American-made truck, hands down, guys. I mean, if you're all about America and you want to support America, then you know you're buying the most American-made truck with a Cybertruck. I mean, when I put the mud flaps on, it said "Made in the USA" on the mud flaps. Gotta love it, right? So I'm all about that. Full self-driving coming soon. We all, you know, some people are angry it's not here yet, but I understand the complexities and the difference of this truck versus the cars that already have it. It's coming very soon, and my truck will eventually be able to drive itself. AT4, no. And even the ones that do have the Blue Cruise, whatever you have in your truck, they're nothing like Tesla, where it's doing live computing and live interactions. It's all pre-programmed in the other manufacturers' trucks and limited to certain highways and areas, not nearly as advanced. All right, lower center of gravity on the Cybertruck. Boy, when you lower that thing down and put it in sport mode, you feel like you're in a sports car going up the mountains, hitting those heavy curves, tight curves, I should say. It feels awesome. AT4, no. Always felt like it was going to roll over. All your weight's up high. You know, this Cybertruck down low, tight to the ground. Another advantage to the lifting suspension is to have the ability to lower down like a sports car and go way up when you need it. All right, what else we got out here? So all-wheel drive all the time in the Cybertruck. Now, I had all-wheel drive in my AT4, but you were not supposed to leave it on unless it was slippery conditions, so you still had to engage it. And when you put the truck into four-wheel drive on the AT4, it was very stiff in the steering wheel. It was not nimble at all. So an advantage to the Cybertruck's all-wheel drive is you don't feel any difference. You just have traction all the time. It's great. What else? Okay, the rear wheel steering, phenomenal. GM had a quadristeer truck that had many problems with it being able to handle weight in the bed, and so they went away from that type of steering, even though they're bringing it back in the electric vehicles, which is great. But currently we're comparing my AT4 to my Cybertruck. The Cybertruck dominates, and I will put a video up here of my Cybertruck turning onto my tight road, which none of my other vehicles, including my UTV, can do. Not even close. Amazing cornering, tight radius turns with the all-wheel steering. And I also have to say that the rear wheel steering also makes towing amazing. I am so much more nimble with my big trailer. I can move it around and do things that I could not do with my AT4 that would take many steps and many turns to achieve. With the Cybertruck, I can turn a lot faster and a lot tighter than my AT4. 9,500 watts available in the bed of the truck, 12240 volt. Come on, can't beat that. My GMC AT4 couldn't even power a pancake air compressor. I have class 4 hail rated glass. I don't have to worry about all the chips. I've replaced the windshield on my AT4 truck twice in less than 50,000 miles. I will probably never have to change the glass on my Cybertruck unless it's a very large rock. I've already been hit by a quarter-size rock, and it just left a tiny little chip you could feel with your fingernail. Very robust, very strong glass, which leads me right into the bullet-resistant, you know, exoskeleton of the truck. I mean, come on, guys. You can hit it with a baseball bat. Henry Ford, one of his very first Model Ts, was you could hit it with a baseball bat. It was strong. It could handle it. And here we are. We're finally back to where we don't have to worry about dings and scratches and things. Way better. Moving on. plastic bottom that will protect from rocks. So the metal bottom on my AT4, I had running boards you'd stand on. Those were all cleared of all the metal. Paint was gone. It was all just raw metal. All the bottom underneath the tires, even with mud flaps, it's just on this dirt road that I live on with 11.5 miles, it would just rip all the paint off the bottom of the truck. And you could put a spray on bed liner on it, but you're going to have to pay for that, and it would be something not included with the AT4. So the Cybertruck, I give it another point up for being so robust and being able to handle all the rocks. And if I ever needed to, I could just change the piece of plastic along the bottom of the trim. All flat bottom of the Cybertruck. Okay, so it's all flat, gives you ultimate ground clearance. There's also a skid plate down there. You don't have your, differentials and your axles down there. You don't have your your drive shaft down there, and whatever else is down there. It's all just flat and nice. Really gives you good ground clearance. Let's move on. Okay, the bed lighting in the bed of the truck far superior than the little light that would come on in the back corners and the top bed light. The Cybertruck lighting is phenomenal. Absolutely love it, and it stays on the entire time you're out there. It's as long as you're around with your phone, the lighting stays on, and I love that. In my other truck, it would just turn off after a certain amount of time. You'd have to find the key fob, put the button. All right, so the bed lighting, far superior. I love the fact that the bed is made out of a very hard plastic. I wasn't sure how much I would like that, but after loading and unloading and scraping things across it constantly, I can tell that it is very robust, very strong, and has saved me money from either having to have the dealership during delivery or while they're manufacturing a truck, put a spray liner in it. It just comes with the Cybertruck, and absolutely awesome. The tie downs in the bed are far superior. That channel along the side where you can adjust all your tie downs, there's third party accessories you can put on that, all kinds of cool stuff to keep your load tied down and to have extra stuff, whatever you want back there. There's all kinds of options back there. The space underneath the bed in the back that you can open, it doubles as a cooler. You can put your drinks and your ice in there and go down the road. It comes with a darn bottle opener on the side of the truck. I mean, whatever, right? Sure, most of us have a bottle opener, but it's still another one up that does not come with the AT4, as well as that entire storage area that's hidden under the bed. Another super advantage to the bed. And it is in a 6x4 foot bed, guys. And when you drop the tailgate, it's 8 feet. So you can put a standard piece of plywood back there. Okay, so kind of going back into the cab, the seats are more comfortable on the Cybertruck. I would say that the AT4 has slightly better heating and cooling seats, but the Cybertruck does have it. It's just not quite as hot and not quite as cool, but I haven't felt like, oh my gosh, I'm sweating. I wish I had more cooling. I could just tell there's a bit of a difference. There's no hump in the back floorboard. So that entire area for contractors, for people who have dogs, when you put your boxes back there, you want to put some Milwaukee boxes back there, you're not limited to the hump, and then it starts to lift your box, right? And your dog can lay flat, and you've got so much more usable space just by eliminating that hump, and it would be in the AT4. The infotainment center is way better in the Cybertruck. I mean, the back screen, I didn't even have a back screen in my other truck, my AT4. Kids can watch shows where they're Bluetooth devices, and they can even see the distance on your navigation and when you're going to arrive. There's a lot to talk about there, but I have to keep moving on, or this video will be super long, but that is great. All the entertainment inside the Cybertruck is way better than the AT4. What else? So kind of getting out of the cab, I mean, it is a very large crew cab. There's plenty of space. I would say there's even more space. And one thing I want to say is once you drive a Cybertruck for a while and you have that large front dash area, actually makes the truck feel very large on the inside. And then you get into like a normal ICE truck after you've been in there for thousands of miles, and it feels weird. It feels small. It feels bulky in an AT4. There's just a massive dash in front of you with a tiny windshield. And you don't feel like you've got all the space and openness. You feel very small and tight inside there once you've gotten used to driving a Cybertruck. It's a big difference. I love the space. And let's keep moving here. The Cybertruck has a clearer, larger camera view of your tow vehicle. You're able to actually see a lot more, and you're not limited to the 10 seconds that you are on the AT4. The 120 outlets in the cab of the Cybertruck have a lot more power available than my AT4 did, and you'd have to engage a special button. You do have to engage a button as well on the Cybertruck to get it to work, but you don't have to have the truck running like you would in an AT4 to power all those outlets. And the AT4 would actually shut off after 15 minutes of idling. There was a trick a guy taught me on how to keep the truck running, but it was very frustrating. Every 15 minutes, the truck would shut off. And another problem would be that I would go to accessory mode and just want to run the accessories and roll the windows down. I ended up killing both onboard batteries in my AT4 in 45 minutes. I called the dealership. I'm like, what's going on? They said, well, that's why it turns off and doesn't want you to do that, because the AT4 truck draws a lot of power. And when you're not running the motor, it will kill the batteries very quickly. And I was very frustrated with that. And I felt like I was always having to start the truck and restart the truck. And I didn't like that at all. And when I want to work in my truck, because I'm a business owner and I would sit in my truck a lot and work on the computer, it was a lot more difficult to work with than just sitting in the Cybertruck. Okay, what else? So we talked about the infotainment center, how you can watch Netflix and YouTube and Hulu. Cannot do that in the AT4, no way. RGB lighting in the Cybertruck is awesome. Give you kind of that when you're driving at night. It just gives you a really cool look. You can change to any color you want. I like it. Okay, the frunk has even more storage than of course the AT4. No frunk, you just had this big motor with a ton of things going on in there. Belts and pulleys and all the switches and vacuum hoses and electrical and right? On and on and on. I love the frunk. I know some people say they wish they had power up there. Cool if we did, but is it a game changer? No. I mean, I find that I work on my tailgate and use the outlet back there much more than I would use the frunk. I had somebody comment that it's a contractor's dream to have outlets in the frunk. Is it really? Is it really a dream? Because you can just drop the tailgate and work off that platform just fine with plenty of power. And if it was there, cool. I might use it every now and then. But I find that I lean towards going to the back of the truck. That's where my tools are. That's where all the stuff is. I pull out chargers, batteries, whatever. It's all right there anyway. So not even a big deal. Now, I love going kind of backtracking to the cab again. I kind of forgot about this, but there is a floor opening in front of the center console where I can put my backpack. So what I found in my AT4 is I was always reaching around, hurting my back, trying to pull my backpack up to get things out of it. And now I can just leave my backpack right there by my feet. It's safe. It's not a problem. And I've got everything right there to grab easily and not hurt my back. Let's go on. Let's move on to the headlights. The Cybertruck does not need fog lights. Was one of the things I wondered. Why is there no fog lights? Well, when you drive a Cybertruck at night, the main lighting system is so wide that it is even better than the fog lights on my AT4. Way better. Then the headlights. They come out and then they pop up, and it's like this whole moving system where it can move. They can adjust. You can go into the service menu and you can change the height of your running lights so that if people think you're like blinding them or whatever, you can lower that down, which is a really nice feature as well. So you got power feed mods from the Cybertruck where you can power a light bar. You can power the front. So if you want to put a winch on it, things like that, that is available. And their accessories are coming, and there's already wires built in to do that. There's actually little things you can pop on the top and on the tailgate that will allow you to put accessories and put up to 4 bars over the top of the truck where you could have ladders, canoes, whatever you want. That is not built into the AT4. Superior reverse lighting in the Cybertruck. When you go in reverse, it's way better lighting than what my AT4 had. Ability to use the cameras all the time while driving. Locking front and rear differential in the Cybertruck. AT4 only had rear locking differential. Unless you get their new AT4X vehicles, do you get front locking differential. All the off-road modes that come in the Cybertruck. The AT4 was gimmicky. You'd flip this little switch and it would like change the gearing. It would make it like less responsive, and it was like that's all it did. But with the Cybertruck, you get all kinds of off-road modes. You know, there's just so much more. You even have off-road cruise control and ability to control the rear wheel steering and so much more. The adaptive suspension with off-road is incredible in the Cybertruck, and we could have a whole video just on that. So far superior stereo system in the Cybertruck, far superior. The AT4, every time you turned it up, it was loud, but man, those doors vibrated so bad. All that plastic and stuff was not as secure as the Cybertruck, and it would have a lot of vibrational noises. When I never turned the stereo up more than half. I can turn the stereo up all the way in my Cybertruck and be blown away by its immersive sound. So incredible. What else? So heat pump technology in the Cybertruck. It has a heat pump. It has the ability to heat down into way low negative temperatures and use heat from the motors. It has a far superior HVAC system over the AT4 did. And wade mode, you can pressurize the battery pack in the Cybertruck and it will help it to handle water. If any air gets into the intake of the diesel, it's done. What about going through a forest fire and a huge flame comes and takes all the oxygen and you're trying to blast out of there? You might be done in an AT4. Cybertruck doesn't need oxygen, doesn't take oxygen, keeps on going. That's an advantage to that. How about starting your vehicle in a garage? AT4, you'd have to pop the garage door and could still possibly get carbon monoxide back in your home. You only get a short amount of idle time when using the remote start. With the Cybertruck, you can leave the HVAC on as long as you want. As long as the battery is above 20%, you don't have to open the garage door. Your garage stays warm. Your vehicle will be completely conditioned at whatever time you would like. And that's a huge advantage over an AT4, is the ability to have a schedule set. So it automatically warms the seat, warms the steering wheel, warms the cabin, conditions the batteries, and everything's ready to go. And the garage is still closed and everything is nice and warm in there for the winter time. Huge advantage over the AT4 there as well. What else we got in here? Advanced traction control, where each tire has its own control. It's far superior than the AT4, I know from experience. Even my Model 3 had better traction in the wintertime than my AT4, just because of its ability to read each tire and change its traction and do things that an ICE vehicle just cannot do. And I speak from experience. I've had a lot of people tell me there's no way that your car has better traction than that. Well, it does, and tires do matter, guys, right? But get the right tires. The Tesla will have way more traction and do a lot better. It even has snow, like it has a button you can click to get it unstuck when it might be stuck in some snow and stuff like that. So that's an advantage. At-home charging, convenience of just plugging it in when you get home. You don't have to stop at the gas station anymore, and you don't have to get the diesel all over your hands. I don't know how many of you guys have diesel trucks, and some people like it. I don't like having diesel on my hands. I'd had to wear black gloves. Also, it would get on my shoes. I would step into the cab of my truck and I would smell diesel for like the remainder of the trip. And I do not like the smell of diesel. It is a VOC and it does cause problems with your health. Biodefense mode. Cybertruck has the ability to filter the air and pressurize the cabin so you do not smell anything. So you have a healthier and cleaner air system. Even just running the normal recirc is healthier and cleaner. Now, I don't know how many times I pushed the recirc button in my AT4 and it felt like it did nothing. Leaky cabins, I could smell everything still in the AT4, but not in the Cybertruck. It is sealed. All right, how about some more stuff on the trailering and towing? One advantage of the Cybertruck is you can monitor the amount of brakes that are being applied on your trailer. It has a line that will show you. So since the Cybertruck has regen, the ability to put power back into the battery pack, there's a setting when you're towing that turns that on and makes it more aggressive and adaptive. You rarely ever energize the trailer brakes. Longevity of the brakes on your truck, you'll never need to change them unless you drive hard and you're always touching the friction brakes. I never had to change the brakes on my Model 3 for 4 years, and I will never have to change the brakes on my Cybertruck. And your trailer will see a lot less wear and tear on its brakes because you're towing with a vehicle that can use that weight to regen and put it back into the battery pack. All right, let's keep going. So superior agility while turning and backing up the trailer. I think I already mentioned that. But how about the superior windshield system? Now, people want to laugh at that. windshield wiper, but I'll tell you guys, it's smart, and it's not just sitting on a gear. You can grab that windshield when the truck went idle, and you can move that wiper wherever you want and just set it there, because it is a variable speed motor that is constantly changing and is programmed to do different things. It has sprayers all along it, keep the windshield super clean. The aerodynamics of the Cybertruck allow the spray from the windshield wiper to go back over and not over your windows. On the side windows, you get very little water on the side windows, and it goes right over the back of the truck, which is super nice. The windshield wiper is smart and powerful, and I know Dirty Tesla was complaining about light rain, but you can just hit a button on the steering wheel and it will engage the wiper, so you can manually control that very easily and not have any issues with the wiper. It is far superior, and actually, you know, after I got used to it, I love it, and I think it is a superior system. Another advantage to the aerodynamics of the truck is all the bugs hit the nose and not the windshield. You're rarely ever having to clean the windshield anymore. That's huge too. Like every time I go to the fuel station, I'm scrubbing those damn bugs off. I might get 3 bugs in a month on my windshield now. I don't know if anybody's talking about that, but that's a huge advantage to me. Okay, we talked a little bit about the 4-wheel drive, ability to use HVAC system while parked for extended periods of time. GM truck would not allow me to do that. Dog mode, so if you want to leave your dog in there, you can leave your dog in there, and you can actually monitor them from the app on your phone and see the camera on the interior. Could not do that with the GMC. How about built-in Sentry mode for advanced security to monitor your truck and all your belongings? It also has a trailer alarm, so if somebody disconnects the trailer, it will alert you and sound an alarm. The security system's recording on all kinds of cameras. It's far superior to anything that GM has offered on the AT4. Not only that, it has the built-in dash cam, so as you're driving down the road, it's recording a bunch of views. If somebody cuts you off, or, you know, God forbid you get in an accident, there is all kinds of video footage there to help secure you. And all my trucks, I've had to purchase a separate dash cam, and it's only the front view and the back view, and they're not that great versus using the built-in cameras on the vehicle. Okay, another advantage. What else? So the better views of the road and the corners. So the front pillars, a lot of people think, oh, it's blocking your view, you're not going to be able to see in the Cybertruck as well when you're trying to look to the left, look to the right. Not true. The angle is lower, and therefore I can see better around the corners than I could on my AT4. So in my opinion, I can actually see better, and with the little window, it even gives you more of a view that you can see there. So I think it's actually an advantage. There's a bunch of fun stuff you guys can do, like light show, and the truck can do all kinds of cool things with lights, and you know, you can do different horn sounds. You can play games with Bluetooth controllers. You have outdoor speaker access. You have karaoke. You have, you know, all kinds of stuff you could do that you could not do on an AT4. You have romance mode where it turns into a fireplace and you can hang out with your girl. I mean, there's just whoever, right? It's so much more you can do with the infotainment center than you can with the AT4. How about we talk about the steer-by-wire, game changer, right? I mean, we could have a whole show on this. I mean, we could do a whole video on the steer-by-wire. The steering wheel was redesigned, and I love it, guys. People are like, what is up with the steering? Dude, it's so much more comfortable, and it's built to work with this short movements that you do, and it's the way that it's for your hands. It's just, there's so much more going on there. Like I said, I could do an entire video, but it's definitely far superior than the AT4. The steering wheel and the steer-by-wire, far more superior. And you don't feel all the bumps in the road when you're going down the road. So advanced controls on the HVAC system, you're able to control the air right from the screen. So if you want it to blow in your face, you want it to be separated, you want it to go up or down, you can control that. On the AT4, you're moving the little vent manually, right? This is all digitally done in the Cybertruck. You can also control the rear HVAC up, down on the 2 sides, and the bottom you can control it as well. So much more adjustability and comfort with the HVAC system on the Cybertruck. Cost of ownership, of course, we kind of talked about that. Cybertruck is way lower than an AT4. Just wait till you have to replace the brakes. $1,500. right. And you got to do that. I had to change my brakes on my AT4 at 40,000 miles. So that was an expensive thing. And then at 50,000 miles, you have to spend a bunch of money redoing all the fluids in the AT4. So I didn't even talk about, we just talked about the first 4 months. So over time, the Cybertruck is going to save even more money, thousands of dollars more over maintenance costs. I love the smartphone app. Has way more features. I can control the windows. I can control the HVAC. I can control the horn, the lights. I can control all kinds of things. And here coming very soon, we're going to have the summon mode back where I can actually summon the truck out of a parking spot and have it come pick me up. That's coming very soon. I had it in my Model 3. It was fun. You just held a button and it backed out of the parking spot and come find you in a parking lot. That's stuff that you can do with the Cybertruck that you will not be able to do with the AT4. I just got tired of the hassle of the OnStar. OnStar always expensive, and they always wanted you to have OnStar for safety features. The Cybertruck will dial 911 in an emergency. You don't have to pay extra for safety features like that. And I used to get so mad that I had to pay a subscription so that if I got an accident, somebody would know. Like, that should be built in, right? Well, it is on the Cybertruck, and the OnStar is just annoying, and they're always like talking to you on the stupid thing, and no thank you. Don't miss OnStar at all. So access to the huge charging network, very advanced navigation system. So you plug in where you want to go, and the Cybertruck will tell you where you're going to go to charge if you need to, how long you'll be there, and optimize your entire trip. It's far superior than the navigation system built into the AT4. The Cybertruck has amazing views for people in the back, and even me when I move the sun visor out of the way. It's just so much to see and view. It's incredible. Way better view of the mountains when you're driving up the mountains. The people in the back can see the mountain coming over the top of them. How about reverse powering to my home? I had my PowerShare module installed this week. It was installed on Wednesday, and I now have access to the equivalent of $80,000 worth of power walls to power my home. I talked to the installers, a couple of them. They talked about how great Tesla was and the simplicity of their PowerShare module, and how much of a headache Rivian, Ford, and GM, especially GM, were to get this installed in their home. It was not seamless, and I am big fan of where I live, way out here on 35 acres, having a backup power supply. And now I don't have to start my generator. I don't have to pay for an expensive Generac. And now I have access to the battery pack of my Cybertruck. And I heard that starting by 2026, all Teslas will support the bi-directional charging, meaning they will power your home. But another huge advantage to the Cybertruck is the bi-directional charging of my home. What else do we got here? The self-leveling for your trailer. Kind of going back to trailering. Once it gets hooked up and the truck kind of sags a bit from the weight, about 60 seconds later, levels. What about if you want to just sleep in the back of your Cybertruck? It has tent mode, which will automatically level the truck no matter what you're sitting on. You hit a button and the truck levels. So you can't do that with an AT4. You can with the Cybertruck. Another advantage. Okay, I know there's a lot here, guys. I know. And so how about the simplicity of an electric vehicle? Removing all the belts, all the pulleys, the nuances, and all the complexities of a diesel motor. There's so many things that can go wrong with a standard ICE vehicle. There's so much going on. There's the diesel exhaust filter. If it's not properly being cleaned by the truck during regen, there could be tons of issues, thousands of dollars worth of issues. There's all the emissions and all of this stuff going on. Dude, there's so much going on with an ICE vehicle versus electric. I'm giving that a huge win to the electric truck, that we don't have to deal with all of that. No spark plugs, glow plugs, whatever the heck it is, all gone. Tons of it gone. Simplest. And yeah, of course, there's other things on the electric side, but they're all taken care of. They're all monitored, and it's nothing you need to worry about maintenance wise. How about the key fob? Now, I know it's a lot better than carrying around keys, but you still got to carry around a key fob. And one of the things I love about my Cybertruck is that I can just carry my phone with me. I don't need a key fob. I keep the keys in my truck now, and I can use my phone. It's less for me to carry around. It's less for me to have to worry of losing. Key fob is a thing of the past. Bye. don't miss that at all. Another one up for the Cybertruck. All right, what else? So just purely advanced security system, purely advanced in so many ways. And I guess I'm going to just kind of end it there, because there's even more things that I can think of, but I've kind of hit all the heavy hitters, and some of those are huge advantages over the AT4. So I hope that was helpful for any of you out there that are looking at getting a Cybertruck, or worried about getting a Cybertruck versus a diesel. Those are hopefully some helpful heavy hitters for you if you're on the the balancing point on whether or not you want one or not. Hopefully that will help you. But like I said, guys, if you're going to haul huge trailers, you don't want the Cybertruck to do that. You want a diesel to do that. But the last thing I want to finish this video with, and is the most difficult part of owning a Cybertruck, is dealing with other people. And the fact that they want to judge you, they want to tell you that you're driving something that's not a truck. I had a conversation with a Dodge guy who was like, "That ain't a truck." I'm like, "How much time do you have, bud?" And he's like, "Okay, what?" And 30 minutes later, he's on his phone trying to order one. Right? Like, they just don't know. And being a new early adopter of the Cybertruck, you're going to deal with this a lot. You're going to even deal with some people who might throw a drink on your truck, flip you off for just no reason because they just hate you, or they hate Elon, whatever their thought processes are. Who knows? But that is the hardest part of owning a Cybertruck, is the comments, the people coming up to you all the time. You feel like you have to almost defend yourself. You kind of explain some of the really cool things that it does. And, most people then change their mind right away. They're like, "Wow, I had no idea you could put 5 people in there and had a full bed and had all these features and can do this and that." They just have no idea. They look at this weird triangle thing and they immediately judge you. That's the hardest part of owning a Cybertruck. And I guess what I've learned is to not look at people. And I don't really make eye contact going down the road anymore. Not that I really did a lot, but owning the Cybertruck has really made me just more focused on driving and looking at the road and looking at the scenery around me than worrying about what other people think and what they're doing and how they are judging me. Now a lot of people, they love it, and you'll see, "Oh my gosh, Cybertruck, love it." You get both sides of the world, but it's not like just getting in your vehicle and driving and not having to deal with any of that. And that's why I gave one up for the AT4 on that currently. But in the next couple of years, I think that's going to change significantly, and people are going to get used to it, and they're not going to react, and they're not going to care, and you can just go about your business. But you do got to grow a little bit of a thick skin when you own a Cybertruck. Enjoy it. Don't let people judge you. Enjoy your purchase, enjoy your life, and don't let people change the way you live your life because they think that what you're doing is wrong, or that you've bought the wrong vehicle. Because that's why I made this video, to actually show and compare the differences between the two trucks for my case use. And I would highly recommend the Cybertruck for anyone who doesn't have special needs for a fifth wheel or hauling a huge heavy trailer. There are really no other reasons, unless you don't have access to charging at home and you have to go to a supercharger all the time. That might be a game breaker as well. But for those of you that have the ability to charge from home and don't haul trailers that are over 10,000 to 11,000 pounds, I see no reason why you would not buy a Cybertruck and save lots of money and enjoy the future of what trucks should be, in my opinion. So thanks for coming along with this one. This one's fun. I tried to cut it as quick as I could, try to get right to the chase. I know we could have had conversations about these features for hours, but obviously we don't want hour long plus YouTube videos. So anyway, we'll see you guys all in the next one, where I hopefully will share my camping trip, trying to get that one together. All right, take care. See you on the next one.